How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Let's Talk video. Today I want to talk about mental health, which is something that not enough people talk about and is something that really people should start talking about more. I wanted to go over how my IBD affected my mental health, how I got through it with help with others, and also some coping mechanisms that I used that might also work for yourself. My IBD affected my mental health in multiple ways, and I'll break down sort of what that effect was, what caused it, and then in the end I'll discuss what got me through it all and those mechanisms that I spoke of before that might also help for yourself. So the first thing to really start to affect me would be depression. At the start, if you had suggested to me that I was depressed, I would have brushed it off, saying that I was just a bit unhappy with being ill, but I wasn't that bad. But looking back on it, there was definitely a lot more to it than that, and it started a lot sooner than I thought. There was a point later on where I did realise that I was getting depressed, but like I said, it was way further down the line and way after it had actually started. I think deep down before I was just not wanting to accept that I was suffering that much. But if I had talked about it sooner, then it would have helped me sooner. But I guess that's the joy of hindsight, really. The main triggers for the depression for me were really the constant symptoms. I was constantly fatigued, tired, I was going to the toilet 13, 14 times a day, just feeling completely mentally drained, and I was constantly being put on more tablets, having to go in for more IV drips, but they weren't doing anything, and I just felt stuck in this constant state of illness. And at that point I didn't know about any of the surgery options, and so I just felt like that was my life now. I was stuck in that constant sort of hell of feeling terrible every single day, day after day. And so that was when the depression sort of really started to kick in. Alongside of that, I was also then starting to struggle with my eating. Every time I sat down to eat something, I faced a huge mental battle. I knew that I needed food. I knew that I was losing weight. Every single time I went in to get blood works done, they would say that I was very malnourished. I was losing weight. And in terms of weight, I went down to about 7.5 stone. And I am 6 foot tall, so I was basically a walking skeleton. But as part of my symptoms, I constantly had ulcers in my mouth, so putting any food just in my mouth was painful. Then, thanks to the ulcers in my intestine, digesting any food was painful, and then needing to go to the toilet a bunch of times a day, that was also painful. So every single time I would try to eat anything, part of my brain was basically shouting no at me. It was telling me, no, this is going to hurt, don't eat it. But then the other part of my brain was saying, no, we need to eat this because you're losing weight and you're not getting enough nutrition. And so this started a real struggle with food, and the only thing that really stopped that was the surgery. And to be honest, it was the same with the depression. It was only after that I had the surgery that I felt normal again. I didn't feel ill. I didn't feel like any food going into me was going to hurt me, and that sort of really pulled me out of those two things. Which brings me on to the last issue that affected me, and was probably the issue that affected me most, and that would be anxiety and sort of a self-consciousness. On the anxiety side of it, it progressed from sort of anxiety about being away from home, because I knew at my house where the bathroom was. I knew exactly how long it would take me to get there, and I knew that sort of when I was living with my parents, they had their own ensuite, so that bathroom was effectively mine, so I knew that if I needed it, it was there. And so I would get really anxious about being anywhere away from home where I wouldn't know where the nearest toilet is, wouldn't know if I would be able to get there in time if I suddenly needed the toilet. And I would get really anxious at work, as at the time I was in retail in an outdoor store selling walking shoes and boots, and I could spend 30-45 minutes with a customer sat down fitting them for a pair of boots. But then any time that a customer would come into the store, I would start panicking that I would start talking to them, and then within a blink of an eye suddenly need the toilet and have to run off. And so I was getting really worried that it would start affecting my job. And in the end, I did actually end up leaving my job quite a few months before my surgery, just because it was affecting me so much. And it would be the same if I was out shopping in town. I'd panic that I'd be in a queue, sort of waiting to pay for something, and suddenly need the toilet, and not know where the nearest toilet is, or if I knew that there was one in a shop down the road, I wouldn't know if there would be a huge queue to get in there. And so it really just brought on an anxiety about being out of control of essentially my own bowels, because I didn't know when I would need the toilet, how soon it would be, but then I didn't know where that toilet would be. And so yeah, it built on this real panic, real stress, which with IBD, one of the biggest triggers is stress. So I was just sort of stuck in this perpetual thing of the stress would make it worse, but then it being worse would add more stress onto me. And so that itself brought on some anxiety. But then as the illness progressed, became more intense, things like surgery were being discussed, and I had never had any major surgery before, so I was getting very worried about what is involved with that, what possible complications there might be, and also what life would be like after the surgery as well, because I was told that the surgeons were planning for me to have a colostomy bag, at least for a while, to allow my intestine to heal. In the end, they had to do more than they wanted in the surgery. They had to remove the intestine completely, but I wanted to talk about that in sort of a separate video about surgery and all of that side of things. But I became very scared about what life with a bag would be. I was very scared that my girlfriend at the time might not find me attractive anymore. I was scared that what if I wanted to go swimming or sunbathe on a holiday? Would people treat me differently if I didn't have a top on and they could see that I had a bag? And I developed this real sort of pre-self-consciousness because I was scared of something that hadn't even happened yet. And I was just scared of how others would then view me. But thankfully, my girlfriend and also the surgery itself sort of helped me get through that. As on the surgery side of things, my intestines had become so infected, so dead, as the surgeons put it, inside my body, that I was only a couple of weeks away from potentially getting sepsis and potentially losing my life. And so that in itself changed it so the bag wasn't something that I was having to have. It was the bag was something that I needed to be alive, and in a sense it saved my life. And so that helped me adjust to it. But then also having my girlfriend Eleanor not be fazed about it whatsoever. If anything, she was happy about it because it reverted me back to a person that I was before. And I mean, we've been together sort of 7.5 years now, and she supported me through the whole thing. I mean, we were together about a year or two before I was diagnosed, and sort of her acceptance of everything really sort of helped me through. So I would say that if you are struggling with any sort of mental health issues, struggling with any illness, just to find someone that you can talk to about your problems. I mean, it sounds such a sort of cliche thing to say, but it really does help. There's nothing worse than keeping everything bottled up, and there's nothing wrong with struggling with mental health. It doesn't mean you're a weak person that you're struggling with your life, because the chances are someone that you know as well might be going through a dark patch and they're just too scared to talk about it. And so I would say to just find someone, a family member, a friend, even if it's a pet, or if it's a dog, cat or fish, just something that helps you get it all off your chest, get it out in the air. That can really help. It doesn't even have to be someone physically sat down with you. I mean, there are tons of forums out on the internet of people that are either been through a similar thing or are currently struggling that would be more than happy to just sit and be a pair of ears that you can unload onto. And that's something that I also want from this channel as well. I want it to be a place where people can come and escape, talk to each other in the comments, and just help each other either come to terms with what's going on in their life, offer help, advice, and just be someone to talk to, really. And I hope that just with me talking about what I've been through will then help other people feel confident enough to talk about it themselves. And so I want to provide that for people. I want to do videos, do streams of just talking about mental health, talking about the surgery, and just make it so people feel safe talking about it, really, because that's what will help a lot of people through it, is just talking about it. I also want this channel to be like an escape for people as well. I found that when I was suffering, if I was, say, spending an evening where I couldn't get to sleep because I was in so much pain, I'd pop some headphones in my ears and just listen to music. I mean, I've always been a lover of music, and it just helped me zone out and escape from things. And similar with video games, always been a lover of video games, but if there was a day where I was just feeling fed up of my own body, I could just sit and just lose myself in that fantasy world and just not have to worry about my life for a minute. And that's again why I want to do video games on this channel, to make it a space where you can just come and watch and have fun and just lose yourself and just escape from your own world, really. And that's what I want to do on this channel, and both on Twitch. I also want to set up a Discord chat room as well for people where they can just log on, chat about their journey, offer advice, help, just so no one feels alone with what they're going through, so they can just sit there, offload, and people can support and help. Because like I said, it's so key to just get it off your chest, get it out of your head, as that will help you so much. So I'll put a link in the description to the Discord chat room, so then you can join that. Hopefully more people will join, and we can just set up a base where people can just share and help each other. I'll also put a link in the description for the Twitch channel as well. No streams up on there at the moment just because I haven't got around to it, but like I say, I want to do sort of chatting streams on there and also gaming stuff just to help people escape. And I'll be putting some more gaming stuff and chatting videos on this YouTube channel as well. So if you want to subscribe to that, just click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to receive notifications each time a video goes up, and I'll see you in the next video.